Today's episode is brought to you by Mazars. SoundCartel. Are you digitally engaged? Or are you wary or even fearful of technology? Well, the pandemic has shown us that digital engagement for small businesses is now crucial. From SoundCartel, I'm Nicole Goodman, and this is Business Essentials Daily. The time for procrastination is over, says Bruce Billson, Australia's small business and family enterprise Ombudsman. He believes that the broad range of SMEs that have avoided new technologies are now betting on their own survival. After all, if you're not digitising, you can bet your competitors are. Bruce Billson starts by explaining to Jeff Waters how digital preparedness has helped many small businesses survive the pandemic.
Well, Jeff, it's been a challenging couple of years and people's experiences have been very patchy. Some small businesses, frankly, have had a good pandemic. They've been well placed, their business models suited the times, and frankly, they've been at the forefront of solving new problems that have emerged as a result of lockdowns and other restraints on movement and changes in consumer and B2B behaviour. So that's part of it. But the common thread, though, we've seen is that the more digitally enabled an SME has been, the better they've fared on the whole. Now, that's not just to say if you've got some great bit of tech kit at the back end, you're going to go well. You still need to be able to delight customers with goods and services that they actually want. So there are no substitute for customers. But we've seen SMEs that have used digital channels to engage with, to stay connected to, and really search out and find new customers have done well. They've also done well where they've used digital capability at the back end of their business to streamline some of those processes that really aren't the reason why they went into business in the first place, but do take up time. On time-poor people having, as most small and family business owners are, spending more time than you need on the back end of your business takes you away from the real magic that is the front end and why you got involved. So that's been the experience. It's been a big trend. Many who've had to do things because COVID's made them do that have found it's really worked for them. They're sticking with it and are now moving into a hybrid mode where those good learnings during COVID are now factored into a more familiar tempo for their business, and they're looking forward with some optimism about the future.
Are there only benefits, though, when there's a disruption, or is this a general benefit?
No, this is the whole digitisation thing is a real priority for the small and family business community. I suppose one thing, Jeff, I'd say is if you're not doing that, your competitors are. And they're investing in digital capability systems and new ways of doing business to delight customers in ways that if you're competing with them, you need to be able to keep pace or have a mighty good reason why your experience is better than someone who's wisely using cost-effective, right-sized digital tools to drive their business. And when you look at research, MYOB's tracking this over time, SMEs with advanced levels of digital engagement are 50% more likely to be growing their revenue and also seeing earnings per team member up by 60%. So these are durable benefits that, a greater digital adoption across SMEs would actually see what's estimated to be a $10 billion boost to the Australian economy. Now, looking at the pandemic, those who've looked back and felt maybe digital engagement was a grudge investment that they might not otherwise have done, 40%, 4 out of every 10 have said it's made them far more productive, and about a third have said it's lifted profitability. But what's interesting, Jeff, 85% said they're going to stick with it. So it's added to the running of their business, the offer that they can make and the way they engage with customers. So it's a real imperative, pandemic or no pandemic, that we're very keen to support and encourage.
For some of those who might be being left behind, what's stopping them from becoming more digitised?
It's a good question, Jeff, and it's interesting. We've almost hit like a glass ceiling where those that are so inclined have really made that move and are reaping the benefits from it. There's still quite a significant proportion in the small and family business community who are hesitant. They may have been oversold solutions in an earlier part of their business career, have a bit of vendor wariness, might not know what's the best set of tools to deploy. They might turn to their peers, their trusted advisors, their accountants and the like to give them a bit of a steer. But we still see in the MYOB survey, 24% were worried about the expense involved. That it's too expensive. And I think that goes to right size, wise selection of the capability that will really add to your business. Another quarter said they just didn't have the time to set it up. So that's an interesting observation, that effort to sort of embrace better digital capability to save time, to drive efficiencies and to really improve the business prospects in the future runs into this time poor challenge that so many of your audience would be aware of, but that's been a real barrier for some.
It can be quite intimidating, I imagine, for many people.
Yeah, it is. And the other thing too is it's, if you're a new funkmeister with a large dose of waka waka coming into your business now, we've got a whole generation who've been born up with, digital devices just being a fairly common and familiar, and frankly, that never imagined anything else in their lives. And we must remember there are a lot of baby boomers still leading Australian small and family businesses, maybe less familiar with the technology, maybe went early in their early part of their career, invested money on big promise that didn't materialise, and now might be a little bit wary. And so there's a bit of that going on as well. But we're doing what we can to sort of highlight where there's programs and support available to help with that journey, because it's certainly a worthwhile journey. And for business owners and leaders, it's certainly a journey your competitors are on. So, it's something that people really do need to turn their minds to.
Why should small business consider e-invoicing?
Yeah, good question. It's an interesting area of government policy. Government's got e-invoicing in the heart of its digital strategy for business, and it talks about a very substantial uplift for the Australian economy. So we are now part of the PEPAL community. That's a type of e-invoicing infrastructure that's very popular in Singapore and other parts of our region, a global standard, a technology that enterprise-wide big firms that build technology systems can relate to, but also a technology that's readily available for much smaller firms. Now, why would you do it? Well, you do it for many reasons. One is it saves a stack of money. About the cost per invoice produced via e-invoicing is about a third the cost of traditional methods. So it's a real streamlining activity within the business. So the back end of the business, less time spent on that grudge business, more time spent on, if I could quote my inner John Travolta, electrifying the reason you got into your business to begin with. It's that administrative burden is down. The risk of manual error also decreased, so that's a good news. The security of the platform, that's an advantage. Many of your audience would know some of the most troubling business-focused scams at the moment. See people intercepting your email traffic that might have a PDF invoice embedded in them, messing with the PDF invoicing to put someone else's account details in there, and then sending it on as if it's a legit invoice. Now, that's very frightening, but unfortunately reasonably common, and we need to guard against that. E-invoicing is one way of guarding against that by making sure that the security in the network is working to your advantage. And finally, everyone wants to be paid sooner. If e-invoicing enables an earlier and more timely response, we want to see payment times improved. E-invoicing is a good enabler of that. And again, we've seen some survey work. Xero's done some work. 78% of businesses who've used it say they can see clear benefits of that choice of adopting e-invoicing. That's something I'd certainly encourage your audience to turn their mind to.
Do you know how they can become an e-invoicer?
Yes, you can do that a number of ways. Most of the software platforms that businesses operate on has a way of registering. as an e-invoicer, remembering it's both sending and receiving. So receiving tidies up your paperwork and can join reference numbers into your back-end records, but you can do the same as you send. So it has that two-way benefit, and the most straightforward way is going through your software package. The very familiar small business software packages offer the ability to register quite simply, and then you get in the mix. And it's one of those things that the more people that register and start using e-invoicing, the greater the value it will have. And it doesn't exclude those big enterprise platforms that you see in the major corporates. They also have e-invoicing gateways and interoperability with some of the software packages more familiar with small and family businesses.
That was Bruce Billson, the Australian Small Business and Family Enterprise Ombudsman. Business Essentials Daily is a SoundCartel podcast. Producers are Nick Schilberger, Chris Ashmore, Jeff Waters and myself. Technical production by Pete Letts and Belinda Trimboli. I'm Nicole Goodman. Thanks for listening. We'll bring you more Be Daily next week. SoundCartel. This episode was brought to you by Mazars. To find out more, visit mazars.com.au. That's mazars.com.au.